We begin in Iraq. Secretary of State John Kerry set to meet with NATO foreign ministers today in Brussels. The ongoing crisis in that country certain to be on the agenda. Earlier today, Kerry met with leaders in Erbil in the autonomous Kurdish region there. He called for an inclusive government once again. Meanwhile, there are reports that dozens have been killed in fighting in the city of Halah. Jane Araf has more from Baghdad.
There are intense efforts underway in Baghdad and the Kurdish capital of Erbil to try to put together a coalition government. That's in line with a clear message from the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry that is what has to happen if the U.S. is going to send troops that it's sending, special forces troops, as well as provide the airstrikes that Iraq is desperately calling for. Now, those ISIL fighters are so far along the border regions and in cities and towns in the north and the west, some of them vital supply routes. But Iraq's foreign minister, Hoshyar Zebari, tells us that he doesn't believe that Baghdad is in danger.
We are not talking about organized army units and control over large areas. This is a mobile force. It can hit and go back and move elsewhere. And since we lack Air Force power, really they have been making some gains against our troops, but they are reversible. I think if we can get our act together, reorganize with some aid, international aid, air power support from our friends, we can push back these forces.
What Iraqi officials are worried about, though, are more fighters and more weapons coming back and forth across that border with Syria after the border posts fell. And that's why they're asking for U.S. help. With no air force of their own to speak of, they're relying on the U.S. and its airstrikes. No one here is under the illusion that airstrikes are going to solve this problem.
Jane, thank you very much. Meanwhile, the UN now saying that more than 1,000 people, most of them civilians, have been killed in Iraq in June alone. Thousands now trying to find safe haven from the fighting. Some of the displaced are winding up in UN camps in Kalak, that is in the autonomous Kurdish region. Today, they were able to receive medicine and the electricity is up and running again. That is needed to help power the cooling units.